I thought I found my safe place. I was 24 when I met him. He was older, 12 years to be exact, but he carried himself with a confidence that made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I could finally stop running. My past was messy. I had been through a relationship that shattered my ability to trust, and even though the wounds were supposed to be scarred over by then, they still burned whenever someone got too close. But not with him. With him it was different. He was kind, patient. He listened when I talked about the things most people ran from. I thought, this is it. This is the man who will love me gently and protect me fiercely. A year and a half later, I married him. I put everything I had into that commitment, hoping he'd be the fresh start I never knew I needed. I worked hard to be what I thought a good wife should be. I ignored the small red flags, the moments where he'd bring up my past during arguments as if it was ammunition. I let it go. I told myself everyone has their moments. Everyone gets mean when they're hurt, right? We built a life. We raised a daughter. We made memories. And year after year, I tried to believe we were growing together. But looking back now, I wonder if I was the only one growing at all. Because there's a difference between building something together and holding it up alone. And for years, I didn't know I was doing the latter. I never imagined that the man who once made me feel so safe would become the reason I stopped sleeping at night. Chapter 2. The gut feeling I couldn't ignore. It started with a feeling, quiet, persistent, and impossible to shake. You know that instinct that creeps up your spine when something just doesn't add up? That's what I felt last June. We weren't fighting. Nothing seemed obviously wrong. But something deep inside me whispered that it was. He was different. Subtle things. Pulling away when I leaned in. Laughing at things he never used to care about. Constantly glued to his phone. One night, while he was out, I gave in to the feeling. I opened his laptop. My hands trembled as I typed in the password. It was the same one he'd used for years. He never thought I'd need it. What I found shattered whatever illusion I had left. Facebook messages. Emails. Google voice texts. To her. He told her he loved her. Called her sweet names. Shared songs. Talked about building a future. A life. With her. And she knew. She knew he was married. She knew he had a daughter. It just didn't matter to either of them. I sat there for hours, reading everything frozen in place. I didn't cry. Not then. I was too stunned, too hollow. I waited until he came home, and when I finally confronted him, he didn't deny it. He said it was a mistake. That it didn't mean anything. That it was over. I wanted to believe him so badly. I needed to. We had a life, a child, history. But the truth? That night, something inside me broke in a way that could never be repaired. Still, I gave him a second chance. I shouldn't have. Because less than a month later, while we were at a 4th of July barbecue, I saw him smiling at his phone. I thought maybe he was replying to the text I just sent. He wasn't. Later that night, while he snored beside me, I opened his email again. And there she was. Back again. The girl before me, and the one after. After that night, I wasn't shocked anymore. I was numb. It was almost like my brain had accepted that betrayal was just part of my life now. He swore again that he had ended things. That the message I saw was him telling her goodbye. I wanted to scream. Why did saying goodbye look so much like flirting? But the part that broke me even more wasn't her. It was the new one. The old friend. Weeks later, I was cleaning up the living room when I noticed his laptop was left open. I didn't even hesitate anymore. I just looked. Different name. Different face. Same flirty messages. I scrolled past lines that could have been pulled from a romance novel. Things I had begged to hear from him for years. He was giving her, yet another her, what I had been starving for. I didn't yell this time. I didn't throw anything. I just walked out back, stared at the night sky, and let the silence eat me alive. And it didn't stop. Our anniversary came. He bought me flowers. Took me to dinner. Pretended we were okay. And I played along. Because I didn't know how to stop pretending. Then came Halloween. My daughter's favorite holiday. We carved pumpkins together while he made excuses to leave. He went to some bar. Said it was just for a drink or two. I didn't ask questions anymore. I didn't need to. When she went to bed, I checked his laptop. Just like always. And there she was again. The first one. Back like she'd never left. I took my ring off and told him I was done unless he could truly show me he was still in this. A week later, I put the ring back on. But deep down, I already knew I never should have. Chapter 4. I chose survival over loyalty. After Halloween, something inside me shut off. I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't crying on the bathroom floor or begging for answers. I was just angry. Quietly, permanently angry. The kind of anger that seeps into your bones and makes you question how you ever let someone shrink you so small. I stopped being his wife in every way that mattered. No more intimacy. No more date nights. No more pretending I didn't notice how he looked at his phone with that same half-smile. We still lived under the same roof. We still shared meals. But emotionally, I had already moved out. I started picking up more bartending shifts just so I wouldn't have to see him. And when we went out together, I made a point to go somewhere else. I needed space, not just from him but from the version of myself who kept letting this happen. Then came the music festival. A bunch of friends invited me out and I said yes. I needed that night. Music, laughter, fresh air. I told him where we were meeting, and when he offered to pick me up later, I agreed. I asked for a sweatshirt. That's it. I didn't say I wanted to hang out. I didn't say wait for me at the bar. But somehow that's what he did anyway, after drinking a six-pack at home. When I saw him waiting there, my heart sank. Not out of guilt, but out of exhaustion. I was tired of being misunderstood. Tired of the constant emotional whiplash. We fought in the car. He accused me of having something going on with one of the women I hang out with, a woman who is old enough to be my mother. Then he brought up a cook I used to work with. It was ridiculous. It was cruel. And it was projection. That night, I told him the one thing I hadn't dared say out loud until then. I'm not in love with you anymore. I love you, but I can't forgive you. I've tried. God, I've tried. But I can't unsee the words you wrote to someone else. I can't forget how easily you gave her what I begged for. He looked at me like I'd betrayed him. He said if the roles were reversed, he would have already forgiven me. That's when I realized he truly didn't understand the damage he caused. The woman I am without him. Telling him I wasn't in love with him anymore should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. He looked at me like I was cruel. Like I was the one who had torn us apart. He said I was throwing everything away, as if he hadn't already done that with every message, every lie, every time he looked me in the eye and told me it was over, when it wasn't. After that night, I stopped explaining myself. My daughter, she's 15 now, knows everything. She didn't learn it from whispers or behind closed doors arguments. She lived it with me. Heard the yelling. Saw the disappointment. Watched the man who used to be her hero become someone she no longer admired. It hurts. Watching her struggle to respect someone she loves. But what hurts more is remembering who he used to be. Before everything. Before the ICU stay, the trauma, the grief, the spiraling. I stood by him through all of it. I was there when he lost both his parents. When he couldn't get out of bed. When the light in him went out. And maybe I should have left then. But I didn't. Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? But who stood by me? When I lost my best friend suddenly in 2022, he wasn't there. When I was fighting with doctors and insurance companies just to keep my mom alive, he wasn't there. When I signed the hospice papers and watched her slip away, alone, he wasn't there. I was alone in my grief. And when I finally tried to fix us, when I gave everything I had left to repair what was already broken beyond recognition, I found out about the affair. That was my breaking point. So I went to therapy. I saw doctors. I started taking care of my body, my mind, my life. Slowly I began to feel like a person again. Not someone's wife. Not someone's support system. Just me. And the stronger I became, the further I drifted from him. Now I'm at the edge of something terrifying and beautiful. I know I can survive without him. I have my daughter. I have my work. I have me, the version of me I thought I lost a long time ago. The house is in both our names. The car is in his. He's on disability. I know it won't be easy. But with my job, my side business, and my circle of friends who've held me together in the dark, I'll be fine. What I don't know is how to make him leave. Because part of him still thinks I'll change my mind. But I won't. Not this time.